In the recent call of FEPS, we can read the following, and I quote here: Beijing is considered to be the political momentum in the gender policy area. However, 20 years after, in 2015, it seems that the process has lost its closeness with grassroots feminist movements, unquote. I think that the Beijing dilemma comes down to two questions, and both of these questions are somewhere in this quote. First of all, is Beijing only a policy momentum? And second, if Beijing really lost its closeness with grassroots feminist movements, then progressives should be able to first to answer the question why. So, first of all, yes, Beijing was an important policy momentum, but was it only a policy momentum? I don't think so. I think it was also a major politics momentum. Dare I say it was a major ideological momentum. It was during and around Beijing that the Catholic Church finalized its theological doctrine about gender relationships. It was in response to Beijing that gender ideology, the concept of gender ideology, appeared in conservative and religious discourses. And it was around Beijing that the Catholic Church came up with the concept of new feminism. It was very interesting, it was very innovative. It acknowledged violence, gender-based violence. It acknowledged power relationships between men and women. However, it rejected the analytical separation of sex and gender. So yes, Beijing was a politics momentum because it marked new ideological differences between conservatives and progressives. And here we come to the second question. Did progressives hide behind these policy provisions and missed the ideological battle around Beijing? Progressives should be able to self-reflectively think about this, but the fact that public debates are so often defined by conservative discourses should really give progressives something to think about. Now, I only have a few elements when it comes to the why Beijing lost its closeness with grassroots movements. After the fall of communism, an optimism that we had never seen before swept through the world. History is over, democracy would prevail, the good conquer the bad, human rights would spread all over the world and prevail. Nobody would be able to contest the human rights framework anymore. As a political scientist and as a consultant, my message goes to those progressives who shared this optimistic worldview at the beginning of the 90s. If you believe in the human rights framework, if you really think that it's right, acknowledge that the human rights framework is a normative framework. It's about values, so it's in nature ideological. And if you believe in it, fight for it. You shouldn't fight for human rights as policies. You should also fight for human rights as politics. If you hide behind policy provisions, the policy-making process, you are going to lose the battle. Conservatives are not in the business of policy. They are in the business of politics. So get out there, pick up the gauntlet, and fight for the values that you believe in. History is not over.